Today, I've got a really good friend on the phone. Has just recently moved to New York for a new job, and she's working in one of the most impacted businesses. And her name is Emily Switzer. So I'm going to bring her on the line and say hi to Emily. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, so tell me, how is your life being impacted right now? How are you handling all this?
So I am a travel agent. I picked the perfect time to be in New York and be a travel agent. And then I am on unpaid leave for all of April and May. So we're hoping that things get a little bit better in June. We're not sure yet if I'll be coming back at that time, but we're hoping for the best. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed and trying to stay busy until then as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, you've got an amazing attitude, all things considered. I'm really sorry. So it sounds like you're kind of joining the ranks of the rest of the nation, which is you're on furlough right now.
Yeah.
And the whole airline industry is obviously been taking a huge toll.
Yeah, and airlines are really hurting. Hotels as well, they've been doing some efforts to take in the homeless in certain areas or to mobilize for other efforts around COVID-19. But of course, they're not bringing in revenue or nearly as much revenue as normal. So
Everybody's kind of just trying to struggle to stay at the surface right now. For people like you that are on unemployment, what do you do, and what steps are you trying to make to try and collect federal aid?
so if you get the answer, please let me know. I've been trying. As far as I've gotten so far, I applied for unemployment on the website, so the Department of Labor website, I think 2 weeks ago. And I got a message that I needed to call a phone number. More recently, they've changed that. They call you. So if you call it that number now, it will say that they're going to call you and you shouldn't worry, you just need to wait. But I am a little concerned because I don't know what number they're going to call me from, what time frame, what if I miss the call, and I haven't gotten any calls yet.
Oh no. Okay, so you're basically in limbo. You have not filed unemployment, even though you're trying to. Is that correct?
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I'm going to look into it. We are doing a whole episode on filing unemployment. That's crazy
Yeah.
because we're like a month into this. Like we need to be mobilizing, but I guess systems are breaking right now. So you have been super inspiring to me lately because I know we chatted a little bit before this call, but this whole point of the show is reaching out on friends and highlighting stories of what's happening and hopefully to inspire other people. So I guess even though you've been put on furlough from your job, you certainly have been busy. And I guess, can you talk to us about what you've been up to and what are you doing with your time?
So I've been staying at home like everybody, but when I can, there's a lot of need for volunteers right now. So one thing I'm doing is I'm volunteering with Meals on Wheels to deliver meals to seniors who can't leave their houses. So the idea is that I'm coming to them so they don't have to go out. And then I've also been volunteering with a lot of different food banks around the New York area. There's huge effort and mobilization right now. And so there's a lot of need for volunteers. If you go on sites like New York Cares, they have plenty of opportunities that are getting updated daily. So if someone's interested in doing that, I highly recommend it. It's been a great opportunity so far to learn from people and feel like I'm doing something during this crisis that can help people.
That's amazing. Can you describe what this food drive looks like?
We need to keep practicing social distancing. So I knock on their door or call them on the phone, let them know their delivery's there, but then we're not in contact with each other physically. And that can be hard because a lot of them are older and homebound. So they spend their entire time alone. And I might be the first person they've seen all week. So they want me to kind of stop and talk to them, but I always
Mm,
have to be 6 feet away, you know?
that's heartbreaking.
So that's really,
You kind of
yeah.
like maybe you can
And
wave at
then
them across the street and do the
yeah, you can kind of wave, say hello, but you can't stop and chat really.
yeah, of course, because they're the ones at highest risk. We got to protect our elders.
I've been joking that I'm kind of the delivery ninja because my I have to wear a mask and gloves, and my face mask is black, so I'm like the delivery ninja. I'm just
Wait, what? I didn't know that I was interviewing the delivery ninja. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. The mask has been revealed. Her identity is out. Emily Switzer is the delivery ninja. She's bringing love and food from the city. Well, I think it's really cool
yeah.
that you're doing that. And so it sounds like we need right now, they need volunteers. So if you are,
They
if you are at home and you have what you need to, and maybe you're young and healthy, then maybe you can participate and look up your local, local organizations that are doing this. We'll post some links here. If you do want to volunteer, can you add a few tips?
Protective gear is super important. All volunteers have to wear gloves and masks during the entire volunteer time. You also need to be under 50 because you're at a lower risk yourself, and you have to be in good health. So if you've had any symptoms whatsoever, if you had a headache recently, they're saying you need to have 0 symptoms for the past 14 days of any type.
So young, healthy, and no symptoms. I heard that there's like a need in New York for some like blood donation banks are closed in the city, and
Yeah. So there's a huge need in New York City for blood donations, and especially plasma donations. But kind of a big problem here is that most of the blood centers have been closed down because they either needed the personnel for other things or weren't able to keep it up with the social distancing measures that they needed to have in place. So anyone who lives around New York, those centers are still open and they have a huge, huge demand right now. So if you live in Connecticut, New Jersey, Vermont, anywhere that's kind of around New York, most of those donations are going to be going to New York City. And they're actually looking, I was just talking to a friend about this because we got a text this morning from our like New York City text channel that if you had COVID-19 and have recovered from it, they want you to donate plasma.
if you're watching this and you've gotten coronavirus and you've already overcome it, then you should give your plasma right now. But it's hard to know. Are they testing for that in New York?
They are. It is nonetheless super hard to get tested right now. The decision many of my friends have made, since we're in lower age groups, we're less affected. If we have symptoms, we're just staying home and letting people who need the test way get the tests. So we're hoping we'll get more tests so that everyone can have one. But in general, right now, it's relatively difficult still to
Yeah.
get one.
Yeah, hopefully that'll change. But can you talk to me about like what's the overall sentiment around you? What's life like, the neighborhood vibe, and just how's the overall feeling around you right now in New York?
So it's still New York. I think everyone here is very resilient. It's a little scary for everyone, of course, but there's ways to kind of keep a positive attitude. I think what I really like seeing is people have been really creative with their masks. So some of them, they'll put on like a Halloween mask on top of it, or they'll have like a stormtrooper mask. Creative ways to respect social distancing and all of the norms, but like make people laugh and keep spirits up.
That's hilarious. I mean, New Yorkers love their Halloween. They love their costumes. I could totally see that. Like just
Yeah.
the goofy side of it all. And are you seeing people coming out and cheering on the medical workers and any of that? Have you seen that kind of story happen around you?
Yeah. So people cheer every day at 7. And I'll hear it and it's great. It's almost like an alarm clock, like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. Okay, I should go out and cheer.
That's so sweet. That's so beautiful. It is. It's the little things that kind of bring us all together in this and lift our spirits. Do you have any tips and tricks on how to stay active and how to stay positive? Because you seem really positive and active, and I just want to. If you have anything to offer, I'd love to know.
Let's see. Well, the nice thing in New York is that a lot of us have rooftop access. I have been exercising on my roof. I've been out there hula hooping, trying to learn how to juggle. My Duolingo bird has been really happy with me. I've had a 20-day streak and going so far. So learning Portuguese.
Beautiful. So, Hula hoop, you got as your sport, and Duolingo to sharpen your mind. So you got mind and body covered. There you go.
I read a specific article that said mediocre art is a great idea for everyone right now. Even if you're not an artist, just making something will be good for your sense of well-being if you
Yeah.
make mediocre art
I mean,
or
it's
good art if you can.
yeah. I was gonna say, if you what if you make good art? Should you make bad art? Like, should you purposely make it bad? I don't know how to respond to that.
Yes.
It's funny because I've been thinking about the same. I'm like, I should break out a canvas and just this is that moment to just paint. And if you don't have a canvas or whatever, break out some pencils and crayons and juice or something. I don't know. Cranberries can make a pigment. I don't know. This is, I spoke to one of my professors the other day, and he said this is a time to make creative risk. And this is why I'm making this show. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm usually on the other side of the camera. So for me, this is my creative risk. But, what do we have to lose? Then, there's nothing to lose. Right now, it's just, a time to share and a time to engage and interact. Also, you can end up with little souvenirs. So if you make something right now, you'll forever have a souvenir of like a pandemic thing that kind of captures like, oh yeah, that shitty artwork, that was the pandemic 2020. This is like a problem that the whole world is facing together. I'm sure, if you have any reflections that you'd want to share with me and with other people that are watching this, this is a good opportunity to share with us.
What's kind of nice is that we are all in this. We're alone together. I saw a couple of people say that, and I really like that. People have been more connected from long distance. So people are calling each other more often, FaceTiming, checking in on each other. And there's some really cute social media trends. Like a lot of my friends have been posting Saturday-dress, where they just dress up in their houses alone and then take some pictures on Saturdays for Saturday-dress.
I love that.
Saturday-dress turned into Hatter Day, so people are wearing fancy hats and taking hats on hat pictures on Hatter Day.
What? God, I'm feeling so
Yeah,
left out.
so,
I'm gonna definitely join these movements. I'm on.
so it's a good time to be connected while being far away from each other.
If there's anything we're learning about this is that this whole social, distancing thing, it doesn't mean we should be practicing emotional distancing. So, it's the opposite. I really
Right.
I like that. We're alone together. Is there anything that you took for granted that you're missing right now?
So not being able to hug your friends or be close to them is really hard, and that's something that we should never take for granted.
I think we're gonna the whole world's gonna hug it out so hard after this. It's gonna be it's gonna be just hugs, a nation of hugs. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I feel you. I feel you. Well, I look forward to the day when we can give you a big hug, and I hope that you take care of yourself and you're well up there. Thank you for sharing with us, and I'll check in with you again in about a week from now if that's cool with you.
Yeah, cool.
Well, take care of yourself. Have a good one, and be well. Much love. Thank you, Emily.
Ciao.
Bye bye.